Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and I'm in Tehran amid fears of a possible US attack on Iran and US President Donald Trump's constant threat to topple the theocratic regime of Khamenei. US and Iran concluded their third round of indirect talks in Geneva with Oman mediating. The meeting took place between US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner alongside Iran's Foreign Minister Sayed Abbas Araqchi. Meanwhile, Oman's Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi plays the role of key mediator. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Chief Rafael Grossi, also held talks with both the delegations. A day before the talks began, US President Trump, in his State of the Union address, said that he will not allow Iran to possess nuclear weapons, although prioritizing diplomacy over military attack. Earlier, Trump had warned that really bad things would happen if the talks were not conclusive. In an India Today global exclusive, I spoke to Iranian Foreign Minister Araqchi, who categorically said Iran is ready for both peace and war. And he reiterated that Iran has the right to use nuclear energy for civilian and peaceful purposes, and no military force can stop Iran's nuclear program. Listen in. Donald Trump has put Iran on notice yet again. What's your reaction? Is Iran prepared?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. On your question, of course we are prepared. We are fully prepared for both options. War, God forbid, and peace. As you know, I'm going to Geneva this afternoon in order to have the third round of our talks with the US team. And we have made some progress last time. We were able to find some sort of understandings. And I think based on those understandings, we can build something in the form of an agreement, a deal. I think a fair, balanced, and equitable deal is achievable, and we can do it. Of course, our armed forces are prepared to do their job, and we know how to defend ourselves, and this is what we did last time. And we have learned lots of lessons from the last war, so we are even more prepared. And that means, by the way, that the aim is to prevent a war. When you are prepared for a war, you can prevent it. Otherwise, you are inviting it to your home. So we are fully prepared, not because we want war, because we want to prevent the war. I'm a man of diplomacy. I have to talk about my own job. And I think the way we are going to is the best possible way to resolve this problem. There is no military option for Iran's peaceful nuclear program. If there is any concern, if there is any question, if there is any ambiguity, we are ready to address. We are ready to answer questions. We are ready to remove concerns, but we are not ready to give up our right for peaceful use of nuclear technology. This is what we demand. So I believe that tomorrow in Geneva, there is every possibility to come to an agreed solution which is fair and balanced.
I know you have a huge responsibility on your shoulders. It's that of peace of the entire region and the world today. But if talks fail in Geneva, there are military options, and the Supreme Leader is also one of the targets. That's absolutely clear in the messaging from Washington.
Well, military option, yes. They have built a huge military presence around us. If the idea is to threaten us, so we, capitulate, that is not going to happen. It is for sure. We have proved it last time in the war when Israel attacked us. Perhaps you remember in the third day of war, there was a tweet, unconditional surrender. But it didn't happen. And after 12 days, they asked for unconditional ceasefire. And we accepted because it was unconditional. If you repeat a failed experience, you won't get any better result, especially since we are more prepared than previous time, as I said before. So there would be no victory for anybody. It would be a devastating war. And since the Americans' bases are scattered in different places in the region, then unfortunately perhaps the whole region would be engaged and would be involved. So it is a terrible scenario. I don't even want to talk about that.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall, but I'm not that. So might as well tell us, what is fair and equitable to you? How do you see fair and equitable? What should Iran be allowed and what should America get?
Well, what we want is only our right, to practice our right. We are a committed member of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, and we have accepted not to have nuclear weapons, but at the same time we have full rights to use nuclear technology for peaceful purposes. And we want to practice that right. If there is any question, as I said, if there is any concern, we are ready to address. So we can build confidence on our nuclear program. And in return, we expect sanctions being terminated. So this is a fair deal, that we build confidence, we make sure that our program is peaceful and would remain peaceful forever. At the same time, sanctions should be lifted and our right for peaceful use of nuclear technology be respected.
Iranian Foreign Minister's exclusive interview to the India Today group is now resonating far beyond our studios, with global media outlets tracking and quoting the interview. From world capitals to conflict zones, the spotlight is on India Today. Free, fair and fearless. Another India Today exclusive making waves across the globe. Is Iran prepared?
We are fully prepared for both options. We are a committed member of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty.
In event of a war, how do you see and what kind of a role do you see Russia and China play?
In the case of war, we don't need anybody to defend us. There is only one entity in this region who wants war, and that is Israel.
There's a lot of information about the Supreme Leader, his health, his whereabouts.
Supreme Leader appears in TV and public gatherings every often.
India Today makes global headlines again. The latest scoop, an exclusive interview with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi by Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan. The interview with Tehran's point man for talks with the Donald Trump administration amidst the war clouds looming over West Asia was closely tracked by world capitals.
We are fully prepared for both options. War, God forbid, and peace.
Foreign Minister Araqchi's views on peace efforts were widely quoted by international media.
There would be no victory for anybody. It would be a devastating war. And since the Americans' bases are scattered in different places in the region, then unfortunately, perhaps the whole region would be engaged and would be involved.
Araqchi clarified that there has been no nuclear testing by Iran. He called President Trump a victim of fake news, but expressed confidence that peace is possible if the US is willing.
We are a committed member of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, and we have accepted not to have nuclear weapons, but at the same time we have full rights to use nuclear technology for peaceful purposes. And we want to practice that right. We have made some progress last time. We were able to find some sort of understandings. And I think based on those understandings, we can build something in the form of an agreement, a deal.
Many global reports highlighted the Iranian foreign minister's observations on the ongoing Geneva summit between the US and Iran.
I think a fair, balanced, and equitable deal is achievable, and we can do it.
India Today also highlighted the potential human cost if a war were to break out in the region. Multiple media agencies reported Tehran's stand on Gaza, which is still counting losses after 3 years of relentless strikes by Israel. The interview with the Iranian foreign minister spotlights India Today's commitment to free and fair reporting at a time when the world is deeply divided and fractured. With Geeta Mohan reporting from Tehran, Iran, Bureau Report, India Today.
They are fighting for the right things, for the right cause.
Tonight, a reality check from Tehran. Not missiles, not sirens, not sanctions. Books, coffee, conversation. In an India Today ground report, Vice Chairperson Kalipuri and I step beyond the Western headline narrative to show a different side of Iran. Take a look.
Books, coffee, conversation. Not missiles, not sirens, not sanctions. This is Tehran, beyond the Western headline. From the outside, Iran is framed through conflict and confrontation. But step inside a mall in Tehran and the narrative shifts.
So we're looking at a mall that not just enriches, it is enriching because of the books that they have. They're portraying and showcasing Iranian books, Persian culture. The books over here are not just confined to religious texts. There is poetry, there's Khayyam, there is absolutely every big poet and their work that you can see over here. This is showcasing Iranian architecture. Look at the beautiful space they have built just to portray and project what Iran is and what Iranian or Persian architecture looks like. Absolutely spectacular. So you go into this nook and the moment you walk through, you come out into a space where there's dome, there is beautiful artwork, there's calligraphy.
India Today Group's Vice Chairperson Kalipuri and Geeta Mohan give you a glimpse of the reality of Iran, beyond the picture that the Western media has painted for the world.
There is inflation, undoubtedly so. There's a lot, and there are problems, but not the way the West projects, because we see a lot of reports, Kali, from the West, and we have to be so careful in our reporting to ensure that we do not fall prey to certain kind of narrative. This breaks that for you, for us, for our viewers.
This could be anywhere in Europe, couldn't it? The way the coffee shop is done, the kind of people who are sitting around, the books at the back, like the atmosphere, the lights. It doesn't feel like what the image you have of Tehran.
And then comes a second big myth. The narrative of constant fear, of moral policing on every street corner.
We are all for women's rights. We talk about it all the time. But roaming around in the streets of Tehran, did you feel the moral police as is reported by the Western media? Like, we know that a lot of women do wear hijab or headscarves. We had to for the interview. But you also see a lot of women who don't.
It seems as if it's a choice. I mean, today we have a headscarf on because it's a bit cold outside. And it seems like a reasonable choice to have the headscarf than not. But, you know, there's been no sort of pressure on us to do either, except at the ministry. I mean, I guess that's their convention, which is fine. American staple in Tehran.
This is the reality of Iran. Myths over a sanctioned backward world busted by the India Today Group as we travelled through the streets of Tehran. Bureau Report, India Today.
Shifting focus to another big visit. Mark Carney's visit to India is seen as an attempt to reset the strained ties between India and Canada and renew the strategic partnership which had seen a low during his predecessor, Justin Trudeau's term. Mahashweta Lala with this report.
India, Canada are set to rebuild their ties as Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney makes his first official visit to India. Carney visits India from February 27th to March 2nd, 2026 at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Carney's first stop is Mumbai, where he will participate in separate business engagements, interact with Indian and Canadian CEOs, industry and financial experts, innovators, educators, as well as Canadian pension funds based in India. He will then arrive in New Delhi on 1st March. On 2nd, Carney will meet Prime Minister Modi and will hold delegation-level talks. Both leaders will review the progress achieved till date across diverse areas of the India-Canada strategic partnership, building on their earlier meetings in Kananaskis, June 2025 and Johannesburg, November 2025. They will also take stock of ongoing cooperation in key pillars including trade and investment, energy, critical minerals, agriculture, education, research and innovation, and people-to-people ties. The two leaders will also exchange views on regional and global developments. The leaders will also attend the India-Canada CEOs Forum. The visit is important because efforts are being made to normalize relations between India and Canada, which were strained a year ago during Carney's predecessor Justin Trudeau's visit. In 2024, Canada expelled 6 Indian officials alleging violence and intimidation against Canadian citizens following former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's statement that there was credible evidence linking India to the murder of Khalistan terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in British Columbia. However, ahead of Prime Minister Carney's visit, now Canada says India is no longer linked to violent crimes ahead of Carney's visit. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
And here are some other stories from across the world and World at a Glance.
Cuba's government said late Wednesday that the 10 passengers on a boat that opened fire on its soldiers were armed Cubans living in the US who were trying to infiltrate the island and unleash terrorism. The announcement came hours after Cuba said its soldiers killed 4 people and wounded 6 others aboard a Florida-registered speedboat that had entered Cuban waters and opened fire on the soldiers first, injuring 1 Cuban officer. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio told that he was made aware of the incident with Cuban soldiers and that the US is now gathering its own information to determine if the victims were American citizens or permanent residents. A former US Air Force fighter pilot with more than 2 decades of experience with nuclear delivery systems and aircraft, including advanced F-35 stealth jets, has been arrested and charged with conspiring to help the Chinese military. According to a statement by the US Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia, Gerard Eddie Brown Jr., who's 65, was arrested and charged with violating the Arms Export Control Act by providing training to pilots in China's People's Liberation Army Air Force. Former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is scheduled to testify behind closed doors and former President Bill Clinton a day later to a congressional committee investigating the activities of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton said she cannot recall ever speaking with Epstein, though she had met his longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who is now serving time in prison after being convicted of trafficking underage girls for Epstein to sexually abuse. Clinton, the 2016 Democratic presidential nominee, has accused the Republican-led House Oversight Committee of trying to draw attention away from President Trump's ties to Epstein, who died by suicide in jail in 2019 while awaiting trial. The US will provide on-site passport services in a settlement in the West Bank, marking the first time American consular officials have offered such services to settlers in the occupied territory. Most of the world considers Israel's West Bank settlements illegal under international law relating to military occupations. Israel disputes that the settlements are illegal and many of the Israeli right advocate annexing the West Bank. This month, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's right-wing cabinet approved measures making it easier for settlers to seize Palestinian land. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has accused Ukraine of planning to disrupt the Hungarian energy system and ordered the deployment of soldiers and equipment to safeguard critical infrastructure. His action further escalates a dispute with Ukraine over an outage on the Druzhba Island pipeline carrying Russian crude deliveries to Hungary and Slovakia, both of whom blame Kyiv for the prolonged halt to supplies for its refineries. Kyiv says the outage was caused by Russian drones striking pipeline equipment in western Ukraine.
That's all in this special broadcast from Tehran. Thank you so much for watching. Keep tuning in for all the latest, not just from Tehran and Iran, but from across the world. Goodbye and take care.